Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for coming today. It's wonderful to see you all. We've run out of seats by the look of this, which is really good to see. What do we represent? We've got members here, we've got colleagues, we've got people who've been associated with the association for many, many years. We've got staff, we've got supporters, people who've been again supporters for 20, 30 years in the past. It's just wonderful to see. We've got associates in various ways, people who've got an interest in what we do and how we do it. So thank you all for coming and thank you all for showing interest. I guess what we're seeing now in part is a summary of a process that's taken us probably a couple of years to move through, where we've been talking openly about what is our purpose, why do we exist, what do we do, how do we actually demonstrate the best return for our members, for people in Queensland who've got a disability, how do we actually help them achieve what they want to achieve. And when I first started with Sporting Wheelies in February of last year, I'd known Danielle for many years. We've known each other for about 10 years. We've worked in different organisations, not together, but in association. And I actually rang Danielle and said, look, I'm starting with Sporting Wheelies, can you come over and have a chat about what it was and what she actually saw, what were the attributes of good not-for-profits and what were some of the shortfalls around them. And Danielle gave me some homework to do, and about 6 months later I was able to report back to her and say, well, this is where we've got to. In doing that, I looked at it and said, all right, so what do we stand for? What do we represent? And we had a vision, and we had a strategy, and we had these, but they really didn't mean much. They were sort of words. They really didn't bring passion and life. So I stepped back and had a look at some other data and said, well, what are we here for? And the organisation had existed for 40 years. I knew it back in the 1970s and early 80s. It was it was sort of wildlife. It was one of those not-for-profits. It was at the top of mind in Queensland. Everybody knew the Sporting Wheelies. Lots of people and colleagues and friends of mine have worked with them as volunteers or whatever else. They were the charity that most people supported, sponsored, or certainly was one of the ones. But then it faded. And I guess, why did it fade? What was that? How did it change? Why might it change? Did the other charities excel and grow quicker because it's stored, or what? I'm not going to go through a whole litany of things. But what does it actually represent to me? There are 17.7% of Queenslanders have a disability. There's 825,000 people in Queensland who have a disability. We want to help those people be active. We want to help that 825,000 people achieve their active goals. Unpack that a bit more, and 30% of people with a disability participate in sport or recreation at least twice a week. 60% do it at least once a week. Let's be conservative, take the 30%. So there's 81,000 Queenslanders who get out there, who have a disability and want to be active. Whether it's climbing mountains, swimming, playing golf, lawn bowls, going to the gym, participating in the sports we manage, that's what they're doing. Sporting Wheelies has 638 members with a disability. So what's our purpose? Our purpose is helping 81,400 people to start with become active and engaged and making sure they've got every opportunity they have and they can be connected and participating. And then going from 81,000 to 825 and encouraging those other 800,000 people to become active. And I guess the great thing about synergy is with the state government's recent draft strategy for sport and active recreation. And it just aligns so perfectly with what we're hoping to achieve. And we're actually hoping that that will also provide a vehicle by which we can expedite our purpose of making active goals accessible. So that's the dream. How does the dream translate? The dream actually translates through that if you look at Queensland communities, any community over 10,000 people has the capacity to support staff and programs on the ground. Now, when I say has capacity, I look at what we do in Mackay. The Mackay community supports a very active program. We've got a staff member there full-time working in Mackay. They've got a whole range of different sports. They do wheelchair dancing. Actually, it doesn't need to be sport. Some sports dancing. They do blow carving. They do lawn bowls. They do wheelchair basketball, bocce, water skiing, shooting, four-wheel driving. It just goes on. So the list is responsive to the community. That community has volunteers, it raises funds, it looks after itself. It is just about fully sustainable in its own right. There are 20 townships in Queensland that have greater than 10,000 people. 10,000 people by 17.7 by 30% represents 178 members. Mackay has about 182. So every township in Queensland that has greater than 10,000 people should be able to have that same sort of service for its people, for its members. Brisbane's nothing more than a conglomeration of a lot of communities. So there should be heaps of them in Brisbane. There should be lots of little hubs all around. Ipswich, Springfield, Logan, Redcliffe, the Redlands, all of those should have that level of community support and responsiveness. So that's what that was the passion. That was what said to me, why do we exist? What's our purpose? Why are we here? Once we actually understand that purpose, then you can start to hang your hat on. What do we spend our money on? Where are we going to get the return? How do we actually contribute and guarantee that we're going to be able to deliver into the future? Danielle mentioned profit. We need profit. We need retained income. We need reserves. Whatever label you want to put on it, doesn't matter. We've got to be able to cover the costs and have a bit spare at the end of the day. If we don't, we're actually squandering the reserves and we're foregoing and we're compromising the purpose we're here for. It's about sustainability. It's about resilience. It's about the future. We don't spend the money today because we just want to. We spend money today to build for the future, to develop. We are investing in the future. So step back from that and then look at the whole thing and say, well, so what does that really mean? And we had to unpack the whole organisation because there were so many good stories, there were so many great examples, there's so much great history in the organisation. We didn't want to lose that, but we wanted to just reflect it all, bring it together and make sure that it was actually being articulated and that all the staff understood what it was and why they were here, what their purpose was, that all the members understood what we represented, what we were doing and why we were doing it, and allow the board and the executive to be able to say, we will do this because it aligns with our purpose, or we will not do it because it does not align with it. And if we've got a shopping list of things that align, at what point do we get to break even and we just have to say, sorry, we cannot afford to do that at the moment with the reserves that we've got. We therefore need to go and raise more funds and do it. So the journey didn't start with a series of steps saying, tick off A, tick off B, tick off C, and we move through. It actually evolved. I guess I've been exposed to purpose-led organisations. As I said, I've known Danielle, I've watched some of the work, I've been working on it different times. So I guess personally I came from that sense of organisation. And that was what fundamentally drove me. That's what drove me to actually join Sporting Wheelies. To work with an organisation that had a purpose and really meant something to society and to people. So as this then evolved, we were challenging what we did. We recognised that the constitution had to change. We recognised that the board structure had to change. With the advisory council, we saw some changes in that. And this was being guided by members who were actually in those organisations. They're saying, yes, we know we have to change. We've got to adapt to the future. So it was all happening. And then the final workshop in May, April, July, whatever date we ended up being able to fit it in the calendar, was a great reflection of summary. I guess that's what it represented. This represents a wonderful summary of the journey and the effort and the contribution that people have made to people with disabilities over 40 years. It's not the culmination, it's the stepping off point for the next 40 years. We celebrated our 40th anniversary last year, and we recognised then that was a great 40 years, and we've got another 40 years to go. And that's what this was representing. So, as Danielle mentioned, you can see there the purpose, the vision, the mission. The mission, what's the task is stuff? What do we do? You're going to hear from Jacqueline shortly, who runs our health and fitness centre. The sport and active recreation, David's going to talk to that. Building inclusive communities, which is actually part of us being able to achieve what we want to do. It's about our value set. We want everybody to be able to participate in what they want to do and how they want to do it. I don't see the sports that we look after as being labelled as disability sports. I actually don't think there is a thing called disability sports. You've got sport and you've got active recreation. What we want to do is make them accessible for everybody, regardless of what background or impairment you've got or whatever it is. So people can come and play goalball and bocce and wheelchair basketball and wheelchair rugby, even if they're able-bodied. Or they go the other way and we'll have modified rugby, we'll have modified tennis, we'll have modified swimming or whatever else. It doesn't matter. We just want to make them available, we want to make them accessible. And that becomes really important. One of the things that we really do see is, in a lot of cases, from a recreational perspective, it provides sport and the recreation actually provides an opportunity for families to play together and engage with each other, with spouses and siblings, where often they wouldn't have that opportunity. So they can actually participate in something together. So that opportunity of coming together, of being a family, being one, is a wonderful experience. And therefore, I don't see the exclusion. Sorry, you don't fit the label, you can't play in this book, in this sandpit. Right, the sandpit's Queensland. And anybody can play in the sandpit. You can play with whatever toys you want. And everyone should have fun in there. And as we grow, those that want to become elite people, fine. Pursue your goals, whatever level you want. And that's why the element of goals. We've all got them. We all set ourselves some form of target. But they're all very much individuals. And our role is there to therefore help people move through. So in that, you notice there are the objectives. You can see there's active recreation, there's sport, there's health and fitness. We used to call it the gym. It's interesting when you actually read back through the history, it actually was the health and fitness centre many, many years ago. We sort of lost that name. We'd actually lost sight of the purpose, and we sort of come down to what will we do? Well, it's not about what we do, it's about the purpose. So it's the health and fitness centre. There's aspirations. What would we like to see this delivering, and where would we like to see it delivered? It becomes really important. And it therefore sets a goal, sets a dream, and we start to move forward. Stakeholder and partnering focus and positioning awareness and engagement. One of the comments that were made to me when I started telling people that I was going to start working with Sporting Wheelies, or I was working with Sporting Wheelies, so I remember them. They were a great organisation. They used to contact me, I used to donate to them regularly. I volunteered for them down the Gold Coast back in the early 80s. I did this, but I used to work with them. I didn't realise they still existed. I didn't know they were around anymore. How come we don't hear from them anymore? We actually lost our presence in the market. We become introspective. We'd stop telling people, we'd stop pursuing the purpose, we'd stop pursuing the goal. We were comfortable working internally, doing what we were doing, and being comfortable that, yes, we delivered that, we did this, we did that. But it was regarded without purpose. So the whole aspect about the purpose is to put everything back in context and saying, what we're doing is that much of that. And so that's where the aspect of rebuilding stakeholder and partnerships, rebuilding the positioning, awareness and engagement becomes important. And sustainable operations and growth. reserves, sustainability, resilience. That's what that's about. Having money today that we can invest for tomorrow, so we can deliver to the 825,000 Queenslanders who currently are looking to us for support. Thank you.